This is the cheat sheet review for the manipulating strings lesson. The whole lesson was pretty much just a catalog of all the helper methods that are available to the string class. So let's start off with manipulating strings, CS-ASP035. And the first thing we did was talk about how to escape double quotes. And we'll just go ahead, string my string equals, and this is a double quote, and then we'll just do that. All right, so that sequence of the backslash double quote will produce a double quote for us, and you just need to not be confused by that second. In fact, I'll just go ahead and put a period after it like that. Okay, so if you wanted to try that in Visual Studio, go right ahead, but it will produce what we're looking for here. So that's escaping double quotes. And then we talked about accessing a specific character, and that was as easy as my string, and then accessing the third item using index 2, so we can do something like that. All right, then we started looking at the helper methods like starts with, ends with, and contains, and these will all check to see if a given string has a set of characters before, at the beginning, the end, or somewhere inside. All right, and it will just return true or false. All right, then the next set that we worked with actually was the index of, and this allowed us to find the index for one string inside of another string. Okay, so we might do something like int my index equals my string, and we'll index of howdy. All right, and so that'll give us just a numeric index, and then we can use that in a number of different methods that require an index in order to operate. So for example, the insert and the remove do just what you think. Insert adds characters starting at a given index, and then remove removes characters starting at a given index and all the way through the length you input. Okay. Then there's also substring, and that will retrieve characters beginning at a given index all the way through the length you input. All right, and then we have kind of moving on from there, the trims, and we already know what those do. We can also choose trim start and trim end, and that is just to remove space characters either from both or just the start or the end of the string. All right. And kind of the antithesis of that is the padding. So there's pad left and pad right, and those will specify a length for a string and a character to pad the string with if its length is less than the specified length. All right, right, so an example would probably be beneficial here. My string equals some value dot pad left, and then so we want the total size of the string to be 10, and then we want to replace anything that doesn't fill up 10 with some character. Let's just use the pound sign, like in this particular case. And also notice that we're inputting a char, not a string. Therefore, we have to use a single quote, not a double quote. All right. And then moving on from there, we talked about the importance of two upper and two lower, and these are important, probably the most important ones that you'll use, because it will allow you to compare two strings regardless of the case. Because, I'll even put that in there, strings. Because in C#, two strings with different cases are not equal, all right? All right, and then beyond that, we talked about replace. And replace will basically replace one string, or let's start over here. Replace every occurrence of one string with some other string. All right, so my string dot replace me with, my value, something like that. Okay. And you know what? Probably shouldn't use those square brackets again, because you're going to get the impression that that's what you should always use. Let's just put in like some other string, like something like that. Wherever you find $3 replace it with my value. Okay. And then the split was kind of interesting. This will take a string and split it into many strings and store them in a string array. String names equals my string dot split, and we'll split by, a semicolon character in this case, like so. Okay. And then we also talked about concatenating strings, and we talked about immutability, and we talked about the string builder. It is a memory efficient way of concatenating strings. Okay. All right, I think that's all we talked about. All right, so I have a small challenge for you. I didn't think it up until just a moment ago. It's actually a painful moment from my past, and I'm going to share it with you and make it your painful moment of the present. All right, so we'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.